Yo, what is up guys? It is Nick or the Notorious Fantasy back again today with another fantasy football video. Today we are doing a 18 PPR from the 4th slot as requested by one of my subscribers, John Walden. Thank you guys for all the support. I know I told you guys I've been going through a rough time, but it means a lot to see all of the support, so thank you guys all. So before I start the video, I'd like to ask if you guys have not already subscribed to please click that subscribe button because not only is it going to help me, it's also going to help you, and you're just going to overall have a better sense of who to draft, what to do during the season, and how to win your fantasy football championship. Now, if you make it to the fantasy football championship, which I know you will, you're going to want a trophy when you win. So check out my sponsor called fantasybros.com. Use code Notorious at checkout and you will get 15 or 5% off one of those numbers. I think it's 5% off. Sorry to mess up there. So let's get right into the video. Like I said, it's 18 league pick 4 PPR. So let's begin the draft here. Now, I did a draft a few days ago from pick 5 and it was a real draft, and I thought it was pretty. This draft's probably going to end up very similar to that one. So, now with Zeke, I am just even more confused. He's been treated with patience by team. Their owner, Jerry Jones, is telling us, oh, we need him for the playoffs. The fucking playoffs? We need him for fantasy week 1, so who knows if that's playoffs? Like, who knows if he's going to be good for then? So, I don't even know. I think I would just stray away from that man. So, if I'm being honest with you, the safest pick at 4 right now, in my opinion, is probably Devonte Adams. I could go DJ here or Zeke. If I did believe Zeke would come back week 1, now I'm even more confused. So I'd either go DJ or Adams or Hopkins here, depending on which wide receiver you like better. So I'm just going to go with, in my opinion, the best wide receiver still available, and that's Devonte Adams because I believe he is so safe. Now, I didn't do that in my draft. I went with DJ, but that's because I still wasn't sure about Ezekiel Elliott at, and I wasn't sure about really how safe David Johnson could be. I still think David Johnson's probably going to finish as a top 10 back, but I don't know how good he will end up being. So I really think just going the safer option here is better. So after I'm with Devonte Adams, D Hop came out the board, followed by Michael Thomas, Lev Bell, Zeke, Nick Chubb, Julio, David Johnson, Todd Gurley. So now it is time to snag a running back here and get one of my favorite options. Now, a lot of people are worried about this guy, and his name is James Conner. A lot of people, there's rumblings about how, oh, he's in a running back by committee. Nick, he's in a running back by committee. Why do you have him in 2 of your leagues, Nick? What are you doing? I'm not doing anything wrong because he's not in a running back by committee, in my opinion. As long as he's healthy, as long as he stays healthy and is good, Mike Tomlin uses one running back, the workhorse back. And you know who the workhorse is? It's not Le'Veon Bell because Le'Veon Bell's on the Jets. It's Mr. James Conner. So I believe in the James Conner pick. I am not scared of drafting him at all, and I love him here in the second round. So after with Mr. James Conner, Tyreek the Freak came off the board, followed by OBJ, Dalvin Cook, AB, Travis Kelsey, Joe Mixon, and now it is our turn to make our selection. So typically at the beginning of the draft, we like to build a lot of running back depth, but right here, the value at wide receiver is too amazing to pass up. Juju Smith-Schuster fell to us all the way in the third round. Juju is a guy that I think could finish as a top 5 wide receiver. Now, maybe not over Adams or Hopkins, but he could do better than a guy like Hill, OBJ, or even Julio or Michael Thomas. I think Devontae Adams and D Hop are probably going to finish 1 and 2 as long as injuries don't happen. But I think that Juju could creep up there. He's going to be getting so many targets from Big Ben. He's the number 1 target on the team. Probably get you 1,400 yards, maybe 10 touchdowns, and just get you like 160, 170 targets, and you'll just feel great about having Juju on your fantasy football team. So that's one with Mr. Smith-Schuster. Damian Williams came off the board, followed by Mike Evans, first quarterback off the board, Pat Mahomes in the third round. Typically, Mahomes goes in around the third or fourth round of these mocks, but in your at-home draft, he can go in the first or second round, depending on how much people love to suck off them quarterbacks. So after Pat Mahomes came off the board, Adam Thielen came off the board, followed by Keenan Allen, Devontae Freeman, On, my wayward son Johnson, and Stephon Diggs. So now it's time to build that running back depth that I was talking about earlier. Now, in my opinion, my favorite running back that's still available here is I do like Aaron Jones, but I honestly think that Chris Carson this year is a straight up steal in the fourth round. Chris Carson is a running back that, in my opinion, has poised to finish top 10. The Seattle line is good. The Seattle team is good. They're very run heavy. If Chris Carson gets 70% of the touches or 60% of the touches, he's going to be a fantasy football god for you in the fourth round. I think that the Seahawks being so run heavy is just going to be amazing. Now, I know they weren't run heavy a couple years ago in the Super Bowl on the 1 yard line, but you need to take that out of your mind because Pete Carroll is not that dumb anymore, and he will use Chris Carson. I love Chris Carson here in the fourth round. So after with Mr. Chris Carson, George Kittle came off the board, followed by Demont, Amari Cooper, Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones. So now a lot of the running backs that I was heavily targeting are gone. So I'm just going to pivot here and go with a tight end because in my opinion, in these type of 8-team leagues, you're going to get the positional advantage at tight end. Everyone's running back's going to be stacked. Everyone's receiver's going to be stacked. Everyone's going to have a good quarterback. Everyone's going to have a good flex, but not everyone is going to have a top 3 tight end. Now I'd prefer to have gotten Kelsey maybe in the 3rd round, but he didn't fall to me. Or he did fall to me. I just went with Juju because I felt like maybe he could fall back to me in the 4th. So I just said, fuck it, I won't do it. But I kind of regret it because I think that Zach Ertz is a guy that will also be maybe not a top, he won't be number 1 because I think Kelsey will be, but he's still going to give you a huge positional advantage at that position because what that means is that because since Ertz is going to be scoring like 14, 15 points every single game, he is so much better than say the 10th best tight end or the 8th best tight end because he may score you 13 points per game. If you look down here, some of these guys are probably going to be scoring like 8 or 6, or they'll have weeks where they do nothing. Zach Ertz every single week, you know he's going to be good and you know that he's worth this pick here. Now I like Kittle more than Ertz, but I will happily go with Ertz here because he was the best tight end available. So after with Zach Ertz, Melvin Gordon came out the board, followed by Brandon Cooks, Sony Michel, Derrick Henry, Robert Woods, Julian Edelman, Chris Godwin, and Mark Ingram. So now it's time to build more of that running back depth. And while I don't necessarily love this pick anymore due to the fact that Andrew Luck has retired, Andrew Luck has fucking taken the cleats, hung them up on the good old telephone wire, but I think he may come back eventually. Maybe not this year, but that's besides the fact because this is Fantasy Football 2019 we're talking here. The greatest YouTube channel talking about fantasy football, the Notorious Fantasy, the latest and greatest. You know what I'm saying, guys? So not to just never mind, but I think Marlon Mack is going to still be pretty solid. I think he'll still end up probably finishing as a top 20 back, and he probably has some decent value here. Now, if Jacoby Brissett ends up being pretty good, then this pick is a straight up steal in the 6th round, because I think that if, as long as Brissett can move the ball and they can get into the red zone, Marlon Mack will be good. Marlon Mack should still probably get 1,000 yards this year with or without Andrew Luck, so I still don't mind getting him here in the 6th round. Obviously, the fact that Luck is gone hurts his value, but I don't think it will diminish his value completely and the return I will get from my 6th round pick. So after with Marlon Mack, Galladay came out the board, followed by Tyler Boyd, Tyler Lockett, T.Y. Hilton, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, and now it is time to make another selection. Now the quarterback still left on the board I do like, but I'd happily just go running back again here and just select another guy that I feel could be a bit safer here. Now, not every week will you be happy with Mr. James White. If he doesn't hop in the end zone, you might be like, oh man, I kind of screwed up because he's not going to score you 25 points unless he does that. But at the exact same time, James White is a guy that every single week is going to be catching 6 balls. So you know he's probably going to be scoring you 6 points every week, plus the yardage. So he's probably at about 10 or 12 every single week on the points per game type of basis. And he was a top 10 back last year in PPR format, so I still think he's a pretty solid value here in the 7th round to build our running back core. So after moving James White, Philip Lindsay came out the board, followed by Cooper Kupp, Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, Hunter Henry, Tevin Coleman, AJ Green, and OJ Howard. So now I think here we may look towards a wide receiver. We already have only 2 wide receivers, and there's some solid value here. And that's exactly what we would do here. Now, Mike Williams is a guy that I'm heavily targeting now. I believe that right now, I don't know what's happening with Melvin Gordon. Some people, there's reports here. Let's see if we can even pull it up here. Where did Melvin get drafted? Melvin Gordon. Where is he? He is a green guy. Melvin Gordon. Has he been picked? Melvin. He clearly has been picked. I just can't seem to fucking find him because you're dealing with an idiot here who just has no eyes right now. So whatever. I don't think I'm gonna even be able to find him. Even though he's right here. Okay. Let's see his player card. Now, mixed takes on the holdout. Some people think that he's coming back. They project he'll be on the 53-man roster heading into the season. Now, I have no idea. I have no clue. I don't have any insider information. I'm just a guy who sits here, makes fantasy football videos, every single day. But what I do know is that I think that he probably, in my opinion, won't be there for week 1 I honestly didn't even think he'd come back to like week 8, but now maybe he'll be back week 3, week 2, who knows. But I think that what I do know is Mike Williams scored 10 touchdowns last year, and it's hard to predict touchdowns, but I think Mike Williams could be an 8 touchdown guy this year. And even with now that Tyrell Williams is gone, he's going to be seeing an uptick in workload. He's going to be seeing a bunch of passes thrown his way, and I think he could potentially finish as a guy that you love playing at your flex every single week. So he's a solid option here for me in the 8th round. Great value here. After we went with Mike Williams, Miles Sanders came out the board, followed by Mr. Mike Williams' teammate, Austin Eckler, followed by Josh Gordon, Lamar Miller, who you should not be drafting due to the fact that he has torn his ACL, Jarvis Landry, and Duke Johnson, the Duke Earl. You guys have to understand that in your draft, you may be drafting with people who have no idea what's going on. They're not subscribed to this channel. They don't know that Lamar Miller's ACL is torn. They don't know that Andrew Luck has retired. And someone may end up drafting Andrew Luck in your draft, even if you're drafting in a couple of days. That could happen. But that will not happen here because you are listening to my video. So now we're going to build some more of that running back depth, unless we are just willing to pull the trigger here on quarterback, which I might be because I love one of these quarterbacks, and that is Matt Ryan. I think Baker could easily finish as a top 5 guy, but I see more safety in Mr. Matt Ryan here. Matt Ryan plays 11 straight games in a dome, okay? 11 straight games in a dome. That means that he doesn't have to deal with wind. He doesn't have to deal with the fact that it's going to be cold, or he doesn't have to deal with the fact that it's super hot. He will just be perfectly fine, cool and temperate in Atlanta, perfectly fine, or even in the Saints Stadium, or wherever he goes. That's a dome. I don't know how the NFL allowed him to have 11 straight games in the dome. That is straight crazy, and he has 13 out of 16 total in the dome. So I love Matt Ryan's value here in the 9th round. Matt Ryan, who finished top 5 in fantasy football quarterback last year, I believe he finished top 2 in some formats, not four nets, right behind Mr. Patrick Mahomes. So after Matt Ryan came out the board, Mr. Baker Mayfield came out the board, followed by Tariq Cohen, A-Rob, Carson Wentz, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Drew Brees, Darius Geis, and now it is our selection again. We still have 3 bench spots left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots on the bench, even though this is probably fucked. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3 spots left. So 1, 2, 3. And yeah, so it's still fucked, and we have 15 rounds, even though we don't have enough spot notes on our bench. But it's okay, because we will not worry about that. And we'll snag yet another running back. Now, I love getting Latavius Murray, but this guy, Kenyon Drake, has fallen down way too far for my liking. Kenyon Drake is going to be amazing this year. Okay, guys? Not because of the fact that he's just going to be an amazing running back that's going to finish top 5. No, but because his ADP has fallen so far down. It has plummeted like no other. He looks good in return to practice. He has returned to practice. He's going to be perfectly fine, in my opinion. I think Kenyon Drake is a certified steal in the 10th round, if I'm being completely honest with you. You're getting a guy that is going to be catching passes. Probably catch 80 or get 80 to 90 targets in the passing games. Maybe get 700 yards. Get 1,000 plus combined yards and probably 8 touchdowns combined, potentially. Probably over 5 touchdowns total in the passing game and the running game. So I love Kenyon Drake's value here in the 10th round. Certified steal. After with KD, Darwin Thompson came at the board, followed by Curtis Samuel, DD Westbrook, Jared Cook, Christian Kirk, and Alshon Jeffrey. So we only have 2 spots left on the bench. And as you guys know, on this channel, we do not draft backup quarterbacks or tight ends in a 8-team or 10-team league. Only in a 12 or 14-team league would I really consider it. So now, in a 14-team league, it's a must in my opinion. So now it is time to snag a wide out here. There's still a lot of great wide out options here. One of my favorite options, DD Westbrook, has been creeping up the board due to the fact of how well he played in that preseason game, going 11 passes thrown his way, catching 7 and scoring a touchdown. So I like his value late, but I really do like Geronimo Allison or MVS here. To me, it's a bit of a toss-up which one will finish higher. Some days I think it's MVS, some days I think it's Geronimo Allison in the slot. Regardless of who it is that finishes higher, I think they'll finish similarly, and I love Geronimo Allison here. So let's go with Mr. G.A. Geronimo Allison, Mr. Injury. Will Fuller came out the board, followed by Matt Breida, Latavius Murray, Darrell Henderson, Emmanuel Sanders, Rashad Penny, Kareem Hunt, and Sterling Shepard. So Matt Breida is a guy I really do like drafting now because reports came out that that McKinnon is not looking good, and he is the clear producer in win. He is going to be amazing. Matt Breida this year, a certified steal late in the draft. So now it's time to get one more running back. We already got 4 wide receivers. We could just get another running back here to help solidify this team. Now I know I talked about earlier how I believe that eventually Melvin Gordon will come back, and I honestly do not believe he'll come back week one. So I'm still loving this Justin Jackson pick. A lot of people may be fading it now because they're like, "Oh, Justin Jackson's gonna be, Justin Jackson is gonna be irrelevant because Melvin Gordon's back." Blah 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 blah. That's not gonna fucking happen. Melvin Gordon is not coming back week one. I can assure that. I'm almost 100% sure that that's not gonna happen. So I'm happy getting Justin Jackson here in the 12th round to play for a couple of weeks as my flex if I need it. So after me with Justin, or to trade him to the Melvin Gordon owner. So after me with Justin Jackson, Larry Fitzgerald at the board, followed by Sammy Watkins, Jared Goff, Kalen Ballage, then the Bears, and then Dante Pettis. This is the latest I've ever seen the Bears go. It's almost a fucking miracle that the Bears made it all the way to the 13th round. Typically, you see them go in like the 9th round. And you're just thinking, how much has that owner smoked? What type of drug is that owner on that has drafted the Chicago Bears defense that early? And they have to be on something because that is crazy town to me. So now we're going to draft our kicker and defense. So first, we're going to go with our kicker. We're going to get Greg the Leg Zuerlein, one of the best kickers in fantasy. After we selected Greg the Leg, Vance McDonald came out the board, followed by Russell Wilson, and then Mr. Retired, Andrew Luck, David Njoku, Ravens, LA Rams, Eric Ebron, and the Jags defense. So now we're going to select our defense. So typically, since we only have 5 bench spots, it should be over after we make this pick. But I said it's fucked up, so I'll just talk about another pick to make, but they won't even show up on our roster. So the way you're gonna pick a defense, okay, is you're gonna go on Google. Follow me. Okay, go on Google, type in NFL schedule week one, find a defense playing against a shitty offense. And the Cowboys are playing the Giants week one, followed by, let's see if we can pull up their schedule. The Giants, followed by the Redskins, and then Miami. 3 easy games for the Cowboys D. After I went with the Cowboys defense, Cleveland Browns came out the board. Another defense I like because they're playing the Titans week one, followed by Justin Tucker, Chargers, Bucker, Newton, Will Lutz. And now we're just going to make a pick that really won't even impact our team. So we're just going to go with Mr. Peyton Barber for the fact that Rojo's leg is fucked up. His knee's inflamed, and we think that Peyton Barber still has solid value here late in the draft. Starting with Barber, Gostowski came on the board, a bunch of defenses, a bunch of kickers. Who needs to know about that? So, our finishing lineup at quarterback, we have Mr. Matt Ryan. Our 2 running backs starting on our team is Mr. James Conner and Chris Carson. Double C action there. Our wideouts are Devontae Adams and Juju. Our tight end is Mr. Zach Ertz. Our flex is Marlon Mack. Our kicker is Greg the Leg Zuerlein. Our defense is the Cowboys. And our bench is comprised of James White, Mike Williams, Kenyon Drake, Geronimo Allison, Justin Jackson, and then we snagged Peyton Barber in the irrelevant round that shouldn't have happened. So thank you guys all for watching. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for helping me get through what I've been dealing with the past couple of days. I hope eventually I can fix it, but right now I've just been dealing with it. So thank you guys all. I hope you guys have a great day. Please click that subscribe button. I love all of you. Goodbye, guys.